Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Turnbuckle Taverns YouTube page. Tonight, we're going to be doing our Tuesday night Impact review. But before we get into that, make sure you guys click on the link in the description below. Subscribe to this YouTube page. The link will take you to our podcast page on Apple, Spotify, where you can rate, subscribe, and review. It'll take you to our social media pages, and it'll also take you to our Pro Wrestling Tee store where you can pick up a couple of our sweet shirts. Click the bell in the corner for notifications on new videos, and let's get right into it. Tonight, September 8th, 2020, Impact. Not a
Hell
bad
yeah.
one. We're back.
Impact Wrestling. Back at you. AXSTV.
So we opened the show. We have Eric Young in the middle of the ring.
The world-class maniac. He's on fire.
I love his I think his voice, it's just the way his voice is. He just sounds awesome.
Grizzled.
Yeah.
Grizzled vet. Someone who WWE didn't give a shit about, never used him. He was jobbing out dudes, and now he comes into Impact where he buttered his bread for years.
Yep.
And he's killing it, man. He fits that moniker, world-class maniac. He's got the psycho eyes going. He's just owning it.
Yeah.
He comes out and calls his title victory a 100. He called his title victory 100% inevitable.
Yeah. Yep.
It was awesome. And then Alicia Edwards interrupted, who, I mean, it slipped me. I didn't realize, but she's either the fiance or the wife of Eddie Edwards, who Eric Young took the title from.
Right.
And she kind of ran down the trials and tribulations that her and Eddie went through and blamed Eric for her husband's inability to care for their child. And
yeah, I think she said that he can't even hold her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the best thing is she goes through this just sympathy, she's just pulling on the heartstrings of bringing her little girl into it. And Eric Young, just cold as a motherfucker, says, I don't care.
Don't care.
So good.
I loved it, man.
And she slaps him, and Young kind of makes a move toward her. And then the House of Hardcore ECW original Tommy Dreamer hits the ring.
Yep.
With the kendo stick.
Yeah, so he comes down to defend Alicia Edwards, and he before we talk, okay, so he grabs the mic and he starts talking. They need, and I know it's pre-taped, but when Alicia Edwards was screaming in the microphone, they need to fix their levels on the mic.
Yeah.
It sounded absolutely terrible for a show. First of all, for a show that, I mean, they're a pretty professional company.
Yeah, they've got the company that owns them, Anthem, I believe, Anthem Entertainment.
Yeah.
Huge company with money.
Yeah.
Invest in your production, man.
Well, also it's pre-taped. So they should be able to fix that a little bit.
Go in there and sweeten the levels afterwards.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever it was, it just, when they were screaming, it was peeking out, and I could hear it was clipping, and I don't know. That bothered me a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I think majority of the things that bother me with Impact are all back end production stuff.
Yeah. Yep. So he gets on the mic and he's talking about how he knows how it feels to pile drive a woman, and to know how she feels and things like that. and he inevitably he challenges EY to a match.
Yeah.
So
It was a
later on,
pretty impassioned promo from Tommy Dreamer.
yeah,
When he's going into, I think he references Beulah, and he's like, "You don't know
right,
what it's like to lay beside someone and know that you were the one responsible for the pain they're feeling today."
yep,
And Tommy is a pro at putting people over when they need it most.
right,
Like if you want a heel to get over, bring in Tommy, who I think I don't think he's ever been a heel. Tommy is like the quintessential baby face.
yeah. I don't think he's ever been. I can't think of a time when he was a heel.
But yeah, that was a pretty good opening. I enjoyed that opening. And then they went into TJP Chris Bay, which is I guess an X division
Right.
match, because they had Raju out there, the new title holder. He was at ringside watching the match.
Yep. Yeah, there was um a discus lariat that Chris Bay hit on TJP that I thought looked really good.
Oh, yeah. Both of these guys are great. I remember when TJP was in the Cruiserweight Classic on the network, and he won
Yeah.
it.
Yep.
And that was a really good tournament that WWE held a couple years back. And Chris Bay, he was kind of an indie darling. I know AEW was courting him, and Cody Rhodes had even brought up signing him in the press. And I think the day that I think Cody Rhodes had an interview where he was saying they were going to reach out to him, and that day Impact's snuck in and got him.
Yeah. Yep.
So TJP defeated Chris Bay.
Then the next thing we had a little locker room talk with so who was in there? It was Kylie Ray,
Susie, and Johnny Swinger. Johnny Swinger is just gold.
Yeah. Yeah, I love his little chime ins.
Yeah, and I got the champ, Deonna Purrazzo, and Kimberly interrupted. There's some trash talk back and forth about them disrupting the black tie affair, and so they made a tag team match. And is that going to take place next week, I guess?
Yeah, next week it's going to be Purrazzo and Kimberly versus Kylie Ray and Susie.
Okay.
Yep.
What do you think about Susie?
I don't really know much about her, to be honest with you.
She used to be like a really dark, twisted character, and now she's playing this kind of like they brought her back from the dead. It was a really out there storyline, and but
yeah, I don't know. I don't know much about her, so maybe I need to look that up because that seems interesting.
Yeah, and Kylie Ray, I'm really torn on Kylie Ray. Like,
yeah,
I think she's great in ring, but her character is so over the top to me. There's something that just I don't connect to her.
yeah. I don't know what it is. I know what you're saying though, and it's just she seems so. I don't know. It almost seems too fake.
Yeah, it's too. I'm too disconnected. It's too over the top. I mean, Bailey, when Bailey was playing that big smile, hugs, her character was still kind of grounded in like she was a real human. Kylie's
Right.
is like no one acts like that.
It's like she's in a bubbly world.
Yeah, it seems just too
Put on.
Yeah, WWE 1994.
Yeah. Yep. No, I agree with you. I agree. And it was kind of the thing where her and Susie looked at each other and then in sync. They said something with each other, and it was just, I remember sitting there and just doing this.
Yeah. I mean,
What was that?
the show stealer's Johnny Swinger.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I mean, he stole the segment when he shouldn't have.
right.
Like, it should have been about this tag team match,
Tag team, yeah,
but Johnny Swinger just stole it. And who's the girl who has the locker? Is it Madison Rain?
yeah.
Not a big fan of her on commentary.
No, because she does the commentary, the color commentary too, right?
Right, with Josh Matthews. And I believe they're married in real life.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah.
I don't know if it's out of necessity that she is a part of the commentary team now, because at one point it was Don Callis, who kind of has a hand in some ownership stake or a booker.
Yeah.
And he's done commentary in New Japan, and it was Don Callis and Josh Matthews, and that team was awesome because Don kind of played that heel commentary team, and their commentary is just kind of right now. Josh Matthews and Madison, it's just stock. It's not. There's no.
It's almost like she tries to be heel, and I just don't believe it.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
You know, they need that star. You know, Josh Matthews is the straight man. He's the Tony Schiavone. He's the he's the very straight and narrow Excalibur.
Right.
But they need that Bobby Heenan. They need that Jesse Ventura. They need that Chris Jericho. They need that commentary that pops you. You know, like there's like even Corey Graves will pop
Jerry
me
Lawler.
sometimes. Jerry Lawler. Like,
yeah.
With their commentary, I never pop. Their commentary is very stock and very
Yeah. Not a big fan of their commentary. And there was a couple of times tonight where one in particular, I'm going to talk about in a little bit, but there was a couple of times that I'm just not a fan either. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. And I don't mind Josh Matthews when he's in that straight man role, but I don't mean to pick on Madison. It's just when you put her in there with Josh, you need a stronger personality to balance out that straight man, and there's nothing there.
Yeah, I mean, on color commentary, I don't think it's really bashing. I mean, just on color commentary for the locker room talk, she's fine.
Right.
But to do color commentary for the whole show, she doesn't fit.
No, she doesn't fit. They need a better. It's not that they don't have chemistry. It's just that the chemistry is boring. It's there's no, like I said, I never pop. And every other wrestling promotion has that guy that will say something.
It's a dynamic. They don't have the dynamic.
Right.
Yeah.
So next we had Brian Myers, right?
Well, right before that, there was a little backstage promo. Johnny Bravo was making phone calls for the wedding
with Rosemary.
Yeah. And so Tasha Steelz and Kiera Hogan drop by and ask if they're invited to the wedding.
Yeah, they actually, I was actually popping for them a little bit. They killed it.
Yeah.
Kiera Hogan, and that's the difference. Tasha Steelz and Kiera Hogan in that segment alone, I bought into them more than Kylie Ray ever gets me.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Like I was in it.
Because they were basically telling Johnny Bravo that he needed to be his own man and stand up to Ty Valkyrie.
yeah. It was great.
Yeah.
They were calling his man card out.
Yep. Yeah. Fun. And then, so we get a little bit more of that later.
Yeah.
But then we had Myers. Myers comes out in street clothes. He said that him and Willie Mack got off on the wrong foot. And basically he's wanting to wants a handshake.
Yeah, time honored
He won.
tradition.
It's a tradition. He's professional. We need that handshake.
And I know we talked about this last week on the Impact review, but Brian's confidence right now is through the roof. You can
Yeah.
see it.
Yep.
There is no hesitation in his promos. There's no, I don't know, it's weird, man, because in WWE I feel like there was, I don't know if it's where it was scripted promos and now he's just rolling off the cuff, but it feels like there's a fire lit under him to me.
Well, I think that is the case, is that in WWE it was all scripted, because how many times have we said about wrestlers that's left WWE that their promos now are really good?
Right, exactly. And you can tell that he's owning his character, he's believing what he's saying. And
Yep.
we mentioned this last week, and we mentioned it in our Brian Myers video that we did. He's kind of playing this pompous, cocky, shitbag heel, but there is also a mean quality in there. Like even in his facials, you see, I don't know, just like a seriousness that I've never seen in Brian.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely, you can tell his passion is there.
Right.
You can tell that his passion's there. And I don't know. It's just right now with that, I really am digging the most professional wrestler gimmick.
Oh yeah. Yeah. He's killing it.
Yeah. And then so Willie Mack comes down to the ring, and he they're not gonna he's not there to shake his hand.
No, his promos crack me up because there's no like fire in his shit. He seems like he just woke up off the couch, dusted off the Cheeto dust from his lap, and walked down to the ring. Like,
Yeah.
so nonchalant. I think he said something about, I'm not gonna shake your hand, I'll smack, I kind of want to smack you, or he said something about smacking Brian around.
Yeah. So he basically informs him that they're gonna have a match right then.
Right.
And Myers says he's not prepared for it. But we're going to have a match anyway.
Right.
So it's a street close match with Brian Myers and Willie Mack.
Yeah, Myers tries to get out of it with the ref. He's like, I don't even have my gear here. And Willie Mack says something like, well, if you were professional, you'd know that you always have your gear ready.
Yep.
And they have a good match. Myers kind of survives an early onslaught by Mack, and Mack mounts a comeback after Brian kind of seizes the upper hand, and he grabs hold of his shirt and pulls it over his head.
Yeah.
And then after the momentary distraction, Myers.
Is that when we get the low blow?
That's when we get the low blow.
Yep. Get a low blow, and Myers gets the win.
Yeah, he hits that impaler DDT.
Yep.
So I love that all of his wins are coming through heel tactics.
Right. Yep. And Willie Mack did a moonsault in his stuff.
Yeah, some of his high spot stuff is crazy that a man that size can pull that off.
Yep. Yeah, so Myers gets the win, and then what was next?
Tag team title match, Motor City Machine versus the Rascals.
What a great match. That was a great match.
Yeah, those two teams just gel well together.
Yeah.
The Rascals almost kind of remind you of a young Motor City Machine Guns.
Yeah.
It was a great match. The the champs put Wentz down at the end and had the successful title defense.
There's another production note that I have in this one. There were a couple of real bad cuts in this that you can tell they cut and edited together that wasn't a live shot from the match.
Oh, really?
There was a couple of those that I noticed. It was very subtle, but you could tell that it was
added in later.
It was either added in or like they stopped and needed to do that spot over or something.
Right.
There was a little hesitate, and like it was enough for me to notice. It wasn't terrible, but it was enough for me to notice.
Yeah, if you're going to do stuff like that, you got to make sure you're doing it clean.
Yeah. And most people probably wouldn't even notice, but I just at that moment I was watching and it just caught my attention and I was like, that was a bad cut.
Yeah, a lot of their, like we talked about this maybe last week, how they need to get some of that down better, because a lot of their editing techniques, they edit on Impact.
Yep.
Not the show, but like, a punch. When a punch is delivered or a move is delivered, it's like they use those as edit points.
Punch cuts.
Yeah. Punch, cut, cut. It drives me crazy. It's not as bad as WWE's camera work, but it just needs to be cleaned up a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if you can get as bad as WWE's camera work. I hate it.
Awful. When Mysterio and his family was caning Buddy Murphy, that camera work made me want to vomit.
Literally, like, it makes me sick. And I've said this before, it for real makes me feel sick to my stomach.
Yeah, motion sickness. It's just in and out. It's like, dude, chill on the zooming.
Yeah, that's the worst camera work. It's the worst camera work in professional wrestling. It sucks.
Easily. So after the match, the North hit the ring and they attack the Motor City Machine Guns.
Who didn't hit the ring after this match?
Exactly. Ace Austin and Madman Fulton join in. Then the Good Brothers make the save, and the Good Brothers kind of stand tall with the Rascals and the Machine Guns to close out the segment. It just seems to me that Bound for Glory, we are heading towards like a fatal 4-way tag team tornado.
Oh, match. For sure. Yeah.
With all these tag teams involved, and we're going to see who comes out on top. I think there's a good possibility Good Brothers come out, but I don't know. A lot of times in matches like that, do we see the title change hands in a big 4 or 5-way tag team match, or do you have the champions come out and then they can properly lose it on a one-on-one tag team title match?
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, I think it's inevitable the Good Brothers are going to get the belts, but I think it's just how they get them.
Yeah.
One little thing that it's another little note, but when the Good Brothers came to the ring, their music hit for about 0.5 seconds. I don't know if you noticed that.
But then they cut it.
But it said, "The devil." That was it.
Yeah.
That was it, man.
Yeah.
I was just like, man, what was the point of even hitting it? It's literally like their music guy was like, boop, boop, boop.
Yeah. It's like, name that tune. We're going to play you 3 bars. Tell us who it is.
The devil. That's it. Oh, so next we have another segment with Katie Forbes and RVD.
Good Lord.
He's getting his own talk show now.
Man, Rob's
the whole effing talk show. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I like Rob, but Katie Forbes, good Lord.
Well, this was a little bit like, I mean, they always are over the top, but like this one was so almost cartoonish.
Oh,
the makeup that they had at the end of this thing.
Yeah. I think they just know that that drives people crazy.
Yeah.
So they just do it to get heat.
Oh, Of course. And it works.
Oh yeah. And
Yeah.
then after that, we got Taya and Tasha Steeles, right?
Yep. Tasha Steeles, Taya Valkyrie, um, Johnny Bravo's at ringside, not even really paying attention. He's on his phone planning the wedding.
Yeah.
He's just on his phone the whole time. She's in there getting beat down, and he's just on his phone.
Yeah, so silly.
Like Hogan's out there, just like they're pretty much double teaming her.
Oh yeah, and despite this, Valkyrie gets the win.
Yeah. Yep. And yeah, they sorry, it was I don't know, something just hit real hard at my place, which is weird. But
maybe they're practicing body slams. They're pumped up on
it
Impact.
could be. I think I'm not sure who lives upstairs, but it could be some Impact Wrestling's planning team or something. They practice at all hours of the night. But yeah, after the match, they kind of attacked Valkyrie, and then Bravo at the very end comes in and saves her.
So before, because Tommy Dreamer and Eric Young, the main event's coming up, but maybe we missed something because there was a segment. Maybe it was before this. There was a segment with Jordan Grace where they're asking her.
Oh yeah. There was a segment with her talking about when what's her name's going to be coming back. What is
Tennille Dashwood?
Tennille Dashwood. Yeah.
Yeah, and they
keep wanting to say Emma, but
they asked her about how she handled the loss, and she was like, "I always like to take my losses with some grace." And they asked her about Tennille Dashwood, and then she's like, "Well, why don't you ask her?" And she's like, "Well, yeah." And then she's like, "No, let cameraman follow me. We're going to go ask her."
Yeah, let's go ask her now.
Yeah, they pull her to the dressing room, knock on the door, and Caleb with a K.
Caleb with a K. Yep.
Yeah, her PP, her personal photographer.
What's his name? What was his name? It was Caleb something.
I just remember him saying Caleb with a K.
Caleb with a K, yeah.
It'd be like Caleb with a K.
Yeah.
And then they threw to a quick package of Tennille Dashwood taking pictures, and she's going to be there next week.
I thought it was so over the top how Jordan Grace was like, well, when is she going to be here? When is she going to be here? And it cuts right to that. And, that's how they give their answer.
Yeah, it was great. I actually liked that a lot.
Oh, it was hilarious. I was like, because at first I wasn't sure what was going on.
Right.
When they cut to it and she was like, when is she going to be here? And they cut straight to that. I was like, was that supposed to happen?
Right.
And then they cut to it and it's like, she'll be here next week.
Yeah. And then Jordan Grace storms off and Caleb takes a shot at her and goes back into the dressing room, calls her rude or something.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that the pro wrestler playing Caleb with a K,
mm-hmm.
That's Chris Statlander's boyfriend.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I saw him tweet a picture of himself and promoting Impact, and he said Caleb with a K, and I was like, oh, I'll have to check that out because the dude's pretty funny.
Yeah.
So when I saw that segment, I thought he made a good little appearance.
I didn't know that was his. Is he a creative pro guy also, or?
I'm not sure if he is a creative pro. I would imagine.
Yeah.
He might be. But yeah, I hope something comes from this where I'm sure if he's playing it, Jordan Grace is probably going to end up bumping him.
Yeah.
He's going to take some bumps.
Oh yeah, for sure. If you don't take a bump and your name's Caleb with a K, something's wrong.
Right. So then we go into the old school rules match with.
Well, there was another little promo right before that with Moose.
Oh yeah.
Where earlier in the show we saw him. He was getting on a plane, and that was really all we saw of that. But then he was at his old high school, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
And his coach was talking to his coach, and his coach was trying to reminisce about things, and he was like, "Coach, I don't have time. I don't have time for this." He was like, "Have you seen a guy named EC3? Have you seen a guy who wears a black hoodie?" And he's like, "No." And he was like, "All right, well, I got to go. It was nice talking to you." He said, I thought it was funny because he said, he said, "Always remember what I told you." He said, "Play to the whistle." And he goes, "Control your narrative." The coach looks at him and says, "Control your narrative." And
Yeah.
he looks at him with he's like, "What?"
Yeah.
And then at the door, EC3's right behind him.
Yeah, I love that. Well, last week it was like something Moose was looking for directions or something, and the guy helped him, and then he had a control your narrative shirt on her, right?
Yeah.
So it's like it's a funny little spot how they're making EC3 really mess with.
I just thought it was great. He was like, "Yep, I know what you always say, Coach. Play to the whistle blows." And he goes, the coach, he just goes, and he's such a he played it really well. And he
Yeah.
Control your narrative.
Yeah, it was great.
I don't know. And then we get into the old school rules Tommy Dreamer Eric Young match.
Yeah, it was chaotic, wild, violent, old school trash cans, chairs.
It in my notes here I have that handicap sign looked stiff as hell.
Yeah, it did.
Because Dreamer hit him with a handicap sign and it didn't bend or anything. No. It wasn't a cookie sheet. It wasn't.
That's what I was gonna say. How the fuck does you've got chairs, tables, road signs, and they've always had cookie sheets.
There's always a baking sheet.
Yeah, who brought those into hardcore matches?
I don't know, but there's a scene in The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke where they go before a match, they go to the dollar store.
Yeah.
And they're trying out things and they grab a cookie sheet and he hits him over the head with it.
Yeah.
And they do it in front of the cashier and the cashier's like, "Oh yeah." Yeah. They're like, "Do you think that's good?" And she's like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
But I maybe it's just for noise, but it doesn't make any sense why there's always a cookie sheet.
No, and they're just flimsy and I don't know.
But to be honest, it doesn't really make sense why there's road signs either. But
that's true. That's true.
I mean, we're at ringside inside and there's a handicap parking sign under the ring.
Right.
Trash cans, those make sense.
Chairs make sense.
Tables make sense.
Right.
Yeah.
So match is classic little hardcore match with Tommy Dreamer. He sets up that Death Valley driver, but Young rakes his eyes and blasts him with that hockey mask.
Yep.
And
which is how he got his title win also.
Yeah, he used that hockey mask to get the title, and then he hits just a standard stiff pile driver.
Yep.
And scores the win. The crazy thing, though, Rich Swann runs out.
Yeah, I honestly didn't expect that to happen.
Still on crutches, which we covered on our podcast. Again, go down to the description below and subscribe to our podcast on Apple. But click the link below. But we covered Slammiversary when it happened, and we discussed, I believe, I can't remember if it happened at Slammiversary, but the retirement,
the speech.
Yeah, we covered.
I think it happened at Impact the next
week.
Yeah,
and Rich Swann came out and cut a crazy promo. Yeah, we did cover that. It was the Impact after, because he cut that promo and then EY came out and attacked him.
Yeah, as he was leaving.
And Tommy talked about it on Busted Open Radio that week. And man, I got worked. because I
Yeah.
really thought he was done. I thought that he had enough in him where they could pull that angle, but I thought his career was done. And with Rich coming out, to me, we're building towards a Rich Swann, Eric Young title match at Bound for Glory.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I was going to say. That's going to be his next title defense. It'll be Rich Swann for sure.
And, Eric Young's yelling at the top of the ramp, "You're not supposed to be here."
Yep.
Almost like he saw a ghost.
Yeah,
Like,
I think that, like when he was sitting there, he was sitting on the ramp looking into the ring, and the look on his face was pure shock.
right.
He was definitely shocked.
So overall, what'd you think of the episode?
I thought it was good. I thought it was a good episode. The only notes really that I have are production.
Right.
I think as far as the content of the show, I thought it was solid. I thought it was great.
We didn't discuss this. What'd you think of Heath and Rhino?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Give the guy a job, man.
I'm burnt out on this free agent shit. Just get it over with.
Give him I'm sick. I love Heath and I love Rhino. Stop doing this thing where he has to beg and
earn his way in
for a job.
Give him a damn job and push him into a singles feud.
You're wasting talent with him right now.
And you're wasting time. It's like, how many times have we saw this? Like every week he's got to beg to get in. WWE did it. Like, dude, just get him in there and throw him in storyline. I hate when they do these storylines of you're not really in we know you're in the fucking company, man.
Yeah, we're not.
It'd be one thing if we had never seen this before.
Right.
And it would be something if we'd never seen it before with any wrestler, but we've seen this before with Heath.
It's the same thing, man.
It's the same thing with Heath.
Yeah. This needs to end, man. They need to get rid of this and push him into a singles run because they're wasting talent and time.
I agree.
And that was actually my other note about Madison Rayne and Josh Matthews was Rhino was talking about this cash and how he knows how he can get not pennies but dollars.
Right.
And then they go back and they go, "You think he's talking about that wad of cash Hernandez always has?" And they both look at the camera. It's like, all right, man, that was a little cheesy.
Yeah, it was super cheesy.
You think he's talking about that money that Hernandez has?
Yeah.
Like, come on, man.
Come on, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, just give Heath a job. Get it over with. We want this free agent stuff's ran its course, but I guess
if he ever goes to AEW, I know what storyline it's going to be.
Oh, free agent. ShopAEW.com free agent t-shirt.
Heath for Dynamite.
Yeah.
I mean,
the last thing I want to say has nothing to do with the show. I thought the show was a good show. Furthered some storylines as we build towards Bound for Glory in October.
Yep.
You talked about production issues. We have issues with, their commentary and some of their camera cut, their editing. And my big issue with their production is just the backstage vignette lighting, how it's just washed out, and they need to have a little better eye for the lighting of their vignettes and their video packages. But man, I wish these guys were on like a little bit better channel, like a channel that had a little more scope, where they could, because I think they would get popular if they had. A lot of people don't have access. I'm lucky enough I have access, but you really feel how small and shitty that channel is in the commercial breaks.
Yeah,
because when you're watching USA or you're watching TNT and you're watching WWE or AEW, you're getting Coca-Cola commercials.
Oh
You're
yeah.
getting Chevy commercials. You're getting
Movie trailers.
movie trailers. You're getting top shelf advertising in the commercial breaks.
Yeah.
On Access TV, when we cut to commercial from Impact Wrestling, you're getting Rodney Pete hawking lipozine. like,
Yeah, Ice-T doing some sort of insurance, I think.
yeah, it reminds me of,
Shaq doing the general.
right. It reminds me of like 1990 when I was like 6, 7 years old and watching USA Up All Night at 3:00 in the morning, and they're hawking 1-900 hot singles or they're it's shit, and the commercials are so terrible and they're long.
Oh, yeah.
It's because their sponsorship dollars they're getting from these ads in their commercial breaks are probably so little that they have to stretch the commercial breaks out longer to get more money.
Yeah. I mean,
sometimes I forget that. I'm like, God damn, they're still in a commercial break. It's
yeah.
like, we talked about it where I feel like I was a little kid and, it's 4 a.m. and the TV shuts off and it's an infomercial selling some dehydrator.
The Ronco.
The Ronco dehydrator is
Get
going to
the
pop
Ronco
up.
food dehydrator with Ron Popeil.
Yeah.
Got the Tony Little workout.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. There's gonna be Ron Popeil and Tony Little infomercials in between Impact Wrestling segments. Like,
Yeah.
come on, dude.
And totally, well, not really off topic, but to further that, just the crowds on those infomercials, it would always be some guy going, well, I don't know how to dehydrate food.
Right.
And they're like, well, John, we can help you with that.
Yeah.
With the Ronco food dehydrator, you can do deer jerky, beef jerky.
These are the type of commercials you're getting on Access TV. And I'm like, I forget that there's commercials out there like that because you rarely ever see them. But on Access, it's like where all commercials go to die.
Freecreditreport.com.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a time machine.
Oh, it's hilarious, man. It's kind of.
But anyway, that's my rant about Access TV and its shit commercials.
Yeah. So if you go to Access and watch their commercials, you can go to the general and save some time.
Yeah, exactly. So if you guys,
so funny,
you guys go into the comments section and tell us what you think of Access TV's lipozine commercials.
Yeah, and also let us know if you ever had a Ronco food dehydrator. I've always wondered how those things work.
Yeah,
I was only like 8 years old, so I could never order one for myself.
Have you tried the Tony Little workout? Let us know in the comments below.
Tony Little, I saw him on a new commercial.
Oh God,
I forget what it's for, but he's on a new commercial. It's kind of like making fun of his old infomercials. But
yeah, like a parody.
Yeah.
But
all right, guys. Well, we'll be back next week with another Impact review. We'll probably have some more commercial reviews for you too. Leave a comment below. Make sure you click the link in the description. Follow it to our podcast page where you can subscribe, rate, and review to that. Go to our Pro Wrestling Tees store and follow us on our social media also.
Yeah, we'll be back next week for another edition of Impact Review on the road to Bound for Glory.
Catch us on the actual pod tomorrow. We'll be covering the Dynamite after All Out.
Yeah, go to Apple. We have a ton of podcasts up, so go check us out. We upload weekly with bonus episodes sometimes. So check us out, guys. We'll catch you next time.
See ya.